When people talk about the sound of music, they remember the beautiful mountains, the sweet songs, and the charming love story. But behind all the smiles and music, there were scenes filmed that were never meant to be shown. Some were too risky, some were too emotional, and some revealed truths that Hollywood did not want the world to see. Over the years, whispers grew. Cast members hinted at strange happenings on set. Historians noticed missing pages in early scripts. Film researchers found references to scenes that never appeared in the final cut, yet no one ever spoke openly about them. Why were these scenes removed? Were they edited out simply for time? Were they too dark for a family film? Or was something deeper hidden behind the cheerful story? As the years passed, fans kept asking questions. Even Julie Andrews once made a cryptic comment, "Not everything we shot ended up where it was supposed to." What did she mean? This chapter opens the door to a decades-old mystery. These forbidden scenes were rumored to expose political tension, risky stunts, real-life bruises, and personal moments between actors that the studio believed would damage the film's carefully crafted image. Some scenes revealed a darker side of the story, one that didn't fit the joyful tone Hollywood wanted to project. In the next chapters, we dive into each of these buried moments one by one. Footage that vanished, scenes that were filmed with great effort but never shown, and secrets that stayed hidden until now. What you are about to read may change the way you see this beloved classic forever. One of the most talked about forbidden scenes involved the Von Trapp family's escape from Austria. In the final film, the escape is dramatic but gentle enough for all ages, but originally the scene was much more intense. According to early script drafts, the family was supposed to flee in the middle of the night through dark woods, chased closely by Nazi soldiers. Crew members later revealed that this version was actually filmed. The actors had to run across rough terrain. Children fell. Lanterns broke. The atmosphere felt frighteningly real. Some of the younger cast members cried for real because they believed the danger was real. The director eventually decided the footage was too raw and emotionally disturbing for a family film. There was also a safety issue. A rumor began spreading that one of the child actors twisted an ankle during the scene, and the studio immediately shut it down. The producers didn't want lawsuits, fear, or negative press, so the scene was toned down, softened, and replaced with a studio-controlled sequence that felt more like a fairy tale escape rather than a terrifying night. Some historians say the original scene exposed the real fear Austrian families felt during the Nazi takeover. But the studio didn't want the sound of music to be too dark. They wanted hope, smiles, and songs, not terror. So the intense version was removed and locked away. Whether the original footage still exists is unknown. Some believe it was destroyed. Others claim it sits in a private vault. But those who saw the raw clips say it had the power to change the entire tone of the movie. Everyone remembers the iconic opening shot, Julie Andrews spinning on the mountaintop singing "The Hills Are Alive." But very few people know that during filming there was a terrifying accident the world never saw. The original scene was filmed using a massive helicopter. The wind pressure from the rotor blades was so strong that Julie Andrews, in full costume, kept getting knocked to the ground. She later joked about it, but what she didn't fully reveal was how serious it truly was. One version of the scene, now forbidden, showed Julie falling hard, sliding down the wet grass, and nearly hitting a hidden rock. The camera kept rolling as she screamed and tried to protect her face. Crew members saw it happen live and rushed in to help. Julie was bruised, shaken, and furious. The director wanted to keep the footage for realism, but the studio refused. They believed showing their star in pain would ruin the film's magical image. They also didn't want news headlines calling the shoot unsafe. So the scene was removed, replaced with the smooth, graceful spin we all recognize today. Some crew members said the original footage showed the harsh reality of filmmaking in the 1960s. No CGI, no safety drones, just a helicopter flying dangerously low. The public was never meant to see that version. Only a few people ever did. Julie Andrews herself once said, "If people saw the original takes, they would never think that scene looked peaceful again." The tension between Maria and the Baroness is an important part of the film, but originally it was much sharper. A confrontation scene was filmed where the Baroness directly confronted Maria about her feelings for Captain Von Trapp. The exchange was emotional, intense, and far more adult than the rest of the movie. In the deleted version, the Baroness accused Maria of hiding behind her innocence. Maria, overwhelmed, burst into tears. The M.O. meant felt raw and uncomfortable, almost too real. When the scene was previewed to a small audience, reactions were mixed. Some said it made the Baroness look cruel. Others said it made Maria look weak. The studio panicked. They didn't want the film to lose its family-friendly tone, and they especially didn't want audiences to dislike the Baroness too much. After all, she wasn't supposed to be a villain, just an obstacle. So the confrontation scene was removed completely. It was replaced with a softer version, one where the Baroness gently nudges Maria to face her feelings. The sharper dialogue was never released publicly. What made this scene forbidden was not just the emotional intensity, but the studio's fear that it made the film feel like a romantic drama rather than a musical. According to some cast members, Eleanor Parker, the Baroness, delivered one of her best performances in that deleted moment. To this day, fans wonder what that powerful exchange truly looked like, but the footage remains hidden. Few people know that early drafts of The Sound of Music included a scene showing the funeral of Captain Von Trapp's late wife. This was meant to explain his strict behavior and his emotional distance from his children. The scene was filmed with dark lighting, a silent church, and 7 children mourning their mother. It was heartbreaking, too heartbreaking. During test screenings, children cried. Adults complained that the scene felt out of place in a musical. The studio immediately decided it was too much. They wanted the audience to feel uplifted, not emotionally devastated. But the real reason the studio buried this scene went deeper. Hollywood executives were worried that showing the previous wife would complicate the love story between Maria and the captain. They wanted audiences to root for the romance without any lingering sadness. So the funeral scene was removed and locked away. Not a single frame of it appeared in the final film. Cast members later said it was one of the most emotional scenes they ever performed. Some even believed it gave the captain's character a deeper meaning. Unfortunately, the world was never meant to see it. And unless the studio opens its vault someday, it will remain one of the most forbidden scenes connected to the movie. Charmian Carr, who played Leisel, once revealed that she filmed a powerful emotional scene where Leisel cried over Rolf's betrayal. In the final film, we only see a light, innocent love story, followed by a brief moment of fear when Rolf almost exposes the family. But originally the film included a dramatic moment where Leisel discovers Rolf has joined the Nazi regime willingly. In this scene, she runs into Maria's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. She struggles to understand how someone she loved could turn against her family. When the studio reviewed the footage, they felt it was too heavy for the tone of the movie. They did not want to show a teenage girl emotionally shattered by a boy she loved. They wanted to preserve the storybook feeling. Charmian Carr was disappointed. She believed the scene showed a deeper side of Leisel, one that made the character feel more human and relatable, but her performance was never shown. The footage later became legendary among fans. Some claim it was destroyed, others believe it still exists in the vaults. But one thing is clear, the scene was too emotional, too raw, and too real for the final cut. The captain is strict in the early parts of the film, but originally he was shown as much harsher. A deleted scene showed him scolding the children after a small accident in the house. His anger shocked even the crew. This version of the captain was cold, distant, and emotionally locked. The actors playing the children later admitted that the scene was extremely uncomfortable to shoot. Some even cried for real. When the studio reviewed the footage, they immediately removed it. They feared audiences would dislike the captain too much, and that would destroy the emotional arc of the film. Producers wanted viewers to feel that the captain was strict because he was hurting, not because he was cruel. So the harsher scene was replaced with a softer version. Only a few people ever saw the original take. but it remains one of the most forbidden pieces of Sound of Music history. Another forbidden scene involved the family climbing rough mountain trails during their escape. In early versions, the family was supposed to struggle, stumble, and face real danger. But during filming, several actors slipped on wet rocks. One of the younger children nearly fell down a steep slope. Crew members rushed in to prevent disaster. The scene was immediately shut down. The footage, though dramatic, was considered unsafe and too realistic. The studio didn't want audiences to see the characters suffering physically. They especially didn't want viewers to know how dangerous filming conditions actually were. So the entire mountain struggle sequence was removed. The final film simply shows the family walking peacefully into the horizon, beautiful but far from reality. The dangerous version remains hidden and never appeared in any bonus release. There was a line spoken by the Baroness that was removed for being too controversial. In this deleted scene, she made a strong comment about Austrian politics and the Nazi threat. It was sharp, bold, and historically accurate, but the studio hated it. Executives feared the line would make the film too political. They wanted The Sound of Music to be a universal musical, not a political statement. The comment was removed from every script copy, and the footage was quietly erased. Some believe the line could have added realism to the story. Others think Hollywood wanted to avoid any potential backlash. Today, only a few insiders know exactly what the line was. There was originally a scene where the Von Trapp children rebelled against Maria before accepting her as their governess. The scene showed them playing a cruel prank that left Maria embarrassed and hurt. The prank involved mud, water, and ruined costumes. The scene was filmed, but after reviewing it, the studio believed it made the children look too mean. They didn't want audiences to dislike them. Julie Andrews reportedly delivered an incredible emotional moment in that scene, one that never made it to the screen. The studio cut the entire sequence to protect the image of the children. That footage, too, vanished from public view. Few people know that The Sound of Music originally had a different ending. Instead of the family walking over the mountains, the early version showed them arriving at a safe house, exhausted and near collapse. It was emotional, dramatic, and powerful, but again, too dark for the studio's liking. The producers decided the film needed to end with hope, not exhaustion. So the final ending was replaced with a brighter, more symbolic version. The forbidden ending was stored away and never released. Those who saw it said it felt like a real story, not a fairy tale.